And now to Facebook. The social media company is facing new pressure to change how it handles content on its platform. Stephanie Sy reports that major corporations have pledged to temporarily stop buying ads on the social media site for the month of July. With advertising making up 98% of Facebook's revenue, the company has seen its share value tumble in recent days. But it is not clear if that will lead to a change in policy.
While protesters were turning out in droves on streets across the United States to demonstrate against the police killing of George Floyd, a different movement was spreading on Facebook.
Hello, Facebook family.
One where a video by a right-wing activist saying racially motivated police brutality is not a real thing was racking up 92 million views. And one where like-minded extremists found each other before allegedly killing a Federal Protective Service officer in Oakland, California. It's a flood of incidents like this that have sparked a coordinated effort to pressure Facebook to change what it allows on its platform.
What we hope to do is to expose the fact that extremists, again, have exploited the platform and they simply haven't done enough to combat conspiracy theories, disinformation, racism, anti-Semitism, etc.
Jonathan Greenblatt is the national director of the Anti-Defamation League. It's one of the groups behind Stop Hate for Profit, a campaign calling for companies to pull advertising dollars from Facebook.
So if Facebook hasn't listened to civil rights activists, and hasn't listened to consumer advocates, and hasn't listened to government regulators, we thought maybe they indeed would listen to their corporate advertisers.
Hundreds of those advertisers have answered the call for an ad boycott, including big multinationals, Starbucks, Coca-Cola, and Unilever. Among other things, the campaign is demanding Facebook remove more hateful content from its platform, rein in the promotion of that content, and refund companies whose ads appear alongside it.
I think this is like a watershed moment for social media.
Reporter Elizabeth Dwoskin covers Facebook for The Washington Post.
You know, for years they've effectively been in this kind of free speech camp where almost anything goes. And yes, they have policies and rules against hate speech, but in particular for politicians and the most powerful people with the most powerful megaphones, they haven't enforced them.
So when President Trump posted, "When the looting starts, the shooting starts," in the midst of the George Floyd protests, Facebook was criticized for not removing the post, in contrast to Twitter, which concealed the post with a warning that it violated its rules against glorifying violence. Hundreds of Facebook's own employees criticized the company for its inaction and staged a virtual walkout.
I think what's happened is that the criticism of Facebook, which has been super intense the past 3 years, ever since the election, has merged with a more general feeling of a need for action in the country at large.
Stephen Levy is an editor-at-large for Wired and author of the book, Facebook, The Inside Story.
People now feel that they have the power to make changes. The changes must happen, and that's bled over to Facebook.
Facebook says it removed nearly 10 million pieces of content containing hate speech between January and March of this year. And under pressure, Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg announced a policy reversal last Friday.
If we determine the content may lead to violence or deprive people of their right to vote, we're going to take that content down, no matter who says it.
For them, that was a big concession. But for the world, that's not going to change very much in terms of what people see.
Facebook will continue to carve out exceptions for politicians on other content they deem newsworthy, even if it violates their policies. But now they plan to label it. To some, the changes fall short.
The question is, will Facebook change the fundamental aspect of a system which promotes, or amplifies, let's say, the sensational content, the divisive content that people respond to more than just ordinary posts? That really is the root of the problem.
And the way the newsfeed algorithm generally works is you get more and more of what Facebook thinks you want, whether it's cats or conspiracies.
Facebook really is suffering the consequences of its own decisions, Zuckerberg's own decisions, really, that it's made over the past dozen years to make the platform what it is now. And it really can't change it without making some fundamental changes.
But those fundamental changes could affect Facebook's bottom line, and advertisers have grown to depend on the company that helps them reach more than 2.5 billion users.
This isn't quite yet an existential crisis for Facebook. The advertisers who have left aren't a giant percentage of Facebook's revenues, and they are influential and important, but a lot of them are going to come back because Facebook is such an effective advertising tool for them. I think the serious problem for Facebook is its own employees. Zuckerberg has to placate them.
To retain his team and remain the dominant social media company, Zuckerberg is enacting incremental change. But living up to his spoken commitment to make Facebook a force for good may take more than that. For the PBS NewsHour, I'm Stephanie Sy.